Hello and welcome. Andy here from Twisted Narrative, and we are about to delve into times undreamed of, obviously using Shadowdark. And this is chapter 9 or episode 9, I can't remember whether to call them chapters or episodes, entitled The Skull of Saint Loric. Thank you for joining us again, and as we always like to do, let us do our wonderful player introductions first. It seems that you've got a companion tonight, Natasha.
Yeah, his name is Loric for this evening.
Wow, that is on brand, that is. Please
Yeah.
introduce yourself and Loric.
Hi, I'm Natasha. I'm playing from the Netherlands, and I've been playing lots of games with Andy for the past year and a half, and enjoying it very much, and enjoying Shadowdark very much because you never know who's going to die.
It is, I don't like causing player deaths, but it's nice to sometimes play in a system where you just know if the dice betray you or you're unlucky or make a bad decision, yeah, you can die, and it creates a degree of tension. Uh, but a pleasure as always to have you at the table. Matt, give us a little intro with yourself.
Hello, I'm Matt, a friend and co-writer of Andy's. We work on the publications that we release based on these adventures together, and I am thoroughly enjoying Shadowdark, and I'm generally nervous about every session because I feel like I'm Drago's the only one left from
From
the
the original.
beginning, so I feel like it's probably my turn.
One could say you are literally carrying the torch at the moment.
No, my staff worked this time, so my staff lit up this time.
Absolutely. And it seems that you are a cleric, a priest, after all, as you finally
Yes.
managed to cast a spell.
Yes,
Um,
and I'm sure that normal service will resume, and I will be completely useless this week. But
nah.
just
Um, and I can't harp on how much I'm enjoying Shadowdark as a system, both in Times Undreamed. This is our 9th episode now, but I run some private games as well. That Dave is in one of those, and we ran one yesterday, and we had a blast, didn't we? It was just absolutely just fantastic fun.
we,
Um,
we had a lot of fun leveling up,
yeah, yeah.
which
Dave,
is always entertaining.
introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm not. I'm Dave. I'm just outside Nottingham in sunny Long Eaton, and yes, I'm playing two games of Shadow Dark with Andy and trying to keep the different lobes of my brain separated because they're two very different characters.
It is, and to be fair, the campaign is kind of running alongside. There are a few differences, so it can be confusing. Even I got a little bit confused yesterday, and I'm sure
We
you spotted that. But
with
hey,
a character mention who didn't exist. Who?
yeah, who you
Who's that?
hadn't discovered yet.
I
Anyway,
just assumed I'd forgotten.
yeah, yeah. It's quite often with a lot of my players just never take notes, so I can do that. It's kind of
I was
who's that?
scrabbling through paper.
Um, but very excited to be running this and
Mm.
getting back in. We had a few technical difficulties 2 weeks ago, which is why we should have done this episode, but we couldn't. But we are back, and fingers crossed that everything records well. So thank you for joining us. Um, Let us enter now times undreamed of and the city-state of Ibai Hor. The story so far, our companions, our protagonists, have done much uh, notoriety at the moment. Big deeds that they have tried to keep as quiet as possible, raising the profile of a long defunct, thought dead gang called the Red Masks down in the wet warrens of Ibaihor. A gang of rogues, thieves, a guild, perhaps the best guild that ever existed in Ibaihor in terms of keeping the status quo, knowing when to steal and when to give back. The Wet now is a place of chaos, of anarchy, with numerous gangs squabbling over turf and backstabbing each other, and not really looking at the old ways of perhaps honour amongst thieves. But with the resurgence of the Red Masks, our protagonists now have been put on task of speaking with the other gangs, trying to encourage them to fall under a mutual banner. And this they started to do. They headed out to the turf of the Sisters of Skulls. They met there their leader, Charlie, and she was unsure about such allegiances and wanted the Red Masks to prove to her that, well, they were worthy of allegiance, and set them a task to recover the bones of Saint Loric, a proverbial needle in a haystack, as these bones were supposedly cast into the boneyard, a massive necropolis of corpses, centuries, multiple centuries old. The bodies just piled up. Life is cheap in Ibaiho. The real expense is in burying a corpse, and quite often they just do not get buried. So with the investigations, they uncovered who Saint Loric was, a halfling who turned from roguish ways and became a saint, and to the god, the deity of, I'm going to look this up, was it was
The one that starts with a T.
yeah, Saint Terragans, I think. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I've actually got it here. Sorry. Saint Terragans they dedicated their life to Saint Terragans in the end, but instead of being buried in the boneyard himself, it seems that he was buried in a chapel within Ibaiho. And to this chapel they went. They met the priestess, the current priestess that was there, and they said that yes, his bones are interned in the chapel below. After some sweet talking and persuasion, she agreed to travel with them down into the crypts, and it was there that all was not right, as in the dark things moved, ghoulish things, and they attacked. Fortunately, our protagonist here fought back, surviving the onslaught and discovering that the bones had been taken. It seems that these ghouls had been breaking into perhaps crypts, perhaps just this one, perhaps many more across the city, stealing bones. There was a hole that broke down, a tunnel leading down, the horrible stench of the sewers reaching the nostrils of our heroes. And this is where we ended the last episode, and it is exactly where we are going to pick up from. So if you want to give our viewers a quick description in case they haven't seen the other videos, and if you've not seen the other videos, please check them out. But we'll start off and we'll work backwards. Aaron, what do you look like and what are you doing in this moment?
Aaron's a short chap with about 5'5". He's got a red scarf tied around his head, and then on top of that, he's got like kind of little kind of hat on top of that, little skull cap type hat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. He's got quite dark, heavily weathered skin, and he's wearing sort of traveling clothes, utilitarian sort of traveling clothes, and carrying a staff.
Nice.
We might have a knife. Probably got a knife. Everyone's got a knife for eating.
Yeah, I mean, having a knife makes sense. Provided you've got the gear slots for it, because this is Shadowdark, and you are limited to what you can carry. Matt, describe us what Drago is like.
So Drago is a half-orc with kind of pale grey-green skin and kind of the slightly prominent lower jaw and tusks that are jutting out. But he has the height to be quite an imposing figure, but keeps himself quite slight and generally holds himself quite hunched and tries not to be too prominent, which isn't necessarily very easy. Um, and he has a staff which, at the moment, the end of it is lit because something worked last time, and also they're probably fading now. But it was briefly wreathed in ethereal flame as well.
Very nice. Last but not least, Natasha, tell us all about Jasmine.
Jasmine is about 6'2", slender, wiry build, well-defined muscles, wearing a hard leather vest that leaves her arms bare, carrying a longbow and a quiver and a shield and a sword. Basically standard fighter type, but has a very, very abrasive personality and a mutt called Mutt.
Yeah, we did some carousing, and you did indeed pick up that. Splendid. So you are here in the dark. You do have this priest or priestess of Saint Terrigan's with you, whose ghouls I can hardly believe it. This crypt should be consecrated. It must have taken great strength of will of them to even chance entering this chambers. And look, a number of bones taken. She's distraught.
Did we? I think we established that we found where Loric would be,
Yeah,
and that's one of the disturbed and empty places, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay. Um, then I think Draco will go to her.
Mhm.
I understand you're worried, and you are right to be so. This outweighs what we were doing, I think, and it's more important that we try and get to the bottom of this mystery. So I would propose we three will venture in. Um, and if you are able to make this place as secure as you can and get whatever
Oh,
assistance you
indeed,
can.
indeed. You don't truly understand, though. Soon, within the month, I'm expected. I'm expecting a visit, from someone of great importance, a priest of. They will be on a pilgrimage. They do this once a year, and with the bones gone, um, I will lose my status. I will simply be cast off into the streets, not able to protect the bones in this chapel.
Or how the bleeping heck are they going to know that they're the bleeping right bones?
Do you expect me to lie?
Or just not bleeping tell the bleeping truth?
The first issue is to see if they can be recovered and whatever is stealing them can be stopped. And I think that's the first task.
I
And we deal with returning them if we find them.
please, you must, you must.
We will
One
do
priest
what
to
we can.
another.
Well, one priest to another, I will do my best, and we will do our best, and we will bring back bones that will work.
Jasmine chuckles.
I cannot survive on the streets, cast out of the church for sloppiness.
We will venture within and see if we can bring back
We will
something
try.
that will keep you.
I have great
I love
faith in you all that you will do the right thing.
Jasmine cackles.
Well,
And then she says, "You're not bleeping coming with us, right?"
What, down into the sewers? No, I have no desire to go down there. I am putting my very faith into you to go find the bones of Saint Loric, return them to his rightful resting place, and well, save me from being cast out onto the streets wearing nothing but a sackcloth.
Talking about bleeping sackcloth, do you have 2 bleeping sacks?
I could provide you with them if you wish, if it is to
Good,
help.
because we bleeping need them to carry back the bleeping remains.
Sorry, it takes me time. All the profanities that come from your mouth, interjecting the words that you actually mean, is overwhelming to me.
What bleeping profanities?
I lean a little bit closer and just say, "You grow numb to it in time."
She grabs your arm and says, "You don't understand. They will shave my hair." And she's got this luscious kind of hair.
So, and I just kind of pat her on them. We will we'll go as quick as we can. If you can gather sacks from my friend, she's right. We'll need something to carry the bones in, the remains in. And as soon as you return, we will be on our way.
She ventures up out of the crypt, leaving you alone for a moment.
Hey, Matt.
Mutt is probably chewing on one of the bones that the ghouls have left behind at the moment.
Matt, stay in guard. I'll be back.
Is there any conversations you want to have in the small window of time before she comes down with these sacks, or are you going to save this till you are most definitely out of earshot?
Oh, I'd definitely wait until she's out of earshot.
Okay, so because you've told the dog to guard Mutt, as she comes downstairs, it turns and starts.
No, Matt, guard her.
Hey, where did he get that bone?
I the bleeping heck no.
Here's your sacks.
Bleeping thank you.
Thank you. We will do our best to maintain the integrity of your beautiful locks.
I mean, they have taken a while, and every morning I brush them 300 times.
Well, let's keep you in brushwork as best we can. We should go.
Now,
At which point, Aaron looks at Natasha.
Jasmine, you mean?
Sorry, Jasmine, indeed, yes. Apologies. I've got my names written down in the wrong place.
That's okay. I didn't know whether you were manifesting another NPC through your eldritch powers.
I tend to do it most sessions.
Jasmine, Natasha.
Yeah.
Aaron, I've blown it now. Aaron looks at Jasmine. And it's slightly expectant, kind of meek, kind of. Would you care to go first?
I'm sorry, could you bleeping repeat that?
Would you care to lead?
Oh yeah, sure. And Jasmine goes ahead and makes sure that there's light coming from behind her as usual.
Yeah, so we'll go second, holding torch. I think if it's been a while, if memory serves, I lit the torch as we came down into this cellar. So it's your call as to how much of the hour will be left. Andy, on that light?
Combat is it's good because I was just about to go. Actually, we're playing Shadowdark, aren't we? So we better start a light timer. I think 10 minutes burn time is fair. Combat itself
That
doesn't,
feels right.
but you've done a little bit of exploration as well.
Yeah.
So I will set this for 50 minutes. Ticking
And
away.
have we got other? You guys, I've got a torch. You guys have torches as
I
well.
have a crawling kit.
Cool. Just
I got
in
two.
I
case.
believe has 2
Yeah.
torches in it.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got 5 between us. Just in in case normal service, magic service does resume for the priest. Yeah, cool.
Okay, very nice. This is interesting because you are entering the sewers now. Are you sure this is the direction you wish to go? It sounds like it. You can possibly try and follow the trail here. There is a warren dug up from the sewers leading up. So you do indeed begin to descend down. And
Yeah, and I think
yeah, go.
we'd concluded that the ghouls were coming in and something was leading them and sort of guiding them in this way to dig these tunnels to make these
Yeah,
thefts. So I think we
Possibly the
concluded
gas.
we were gonna try and follow that. Yeah, and see what
perfect.
we.
So not only is the physical signs of the tracks, but there is this horrible stench that seems to mingle with the excrement as you descend down into the sewer as well.
Jasmine kept her mask from when we went into the gardens of the Talisman, and she basically puts it back on.
Mm. Sounds very sensible to you. So you set off into the sewers. You've got a trail to follow first. Who's taking lead? You've got light. The sewer is a terrible place. These are the sewers just outside of the wet warrens because, as you know, there are no sewers in the wet warrens itself. The sewers end just before that district and the effluent flows through the streets, open cesspools and sewers. You have a trail to try and follow. So who wants to take lead on that?
I'm just a bleeping meat shield. I don't bleeping track much.
So they're
Tracking.
undead, aren't they?
They are indeed undead.
Yeah. Okay. So then, I guess narratively, it would make sense, being a priest, that I might, if any of us have a lead or have a greater instinct for these enemies, it might be me. So, oh god. So
Perfect.
yes, I feel like maybe it's me, kind of just over Jasmine's shoulder, holding the light. Kind of go that way, not
Okay.
left now.
Jasmine will be fine doing that.
Cool.
Those who have already passed are not my strength.
Perfect. So you descend down here, I guess then, Drago, without a grubber, someone who works in the sewers. You're the best they've got, and you begin to try and follow this. So for the moment, I kind of want you to tell me how you are attempting to track these individuals. The sewers, these aren't glamorous places. This is a small tunnel, really. Occasionally effluent and all of the crud of the street above is just pouring into this, and you are wading at the moment. There's no kind of sides to the sewers. Um, it's liquid, but there's all just horrible waste. not just humanoid waste, but anything that wants to be disposed of has just been chucked down here. This does include, obviously, corpses.
If there's still like skeletons visible,
Hmm.
Jasmine will be on the active lookout for something that resembles a halfling.
Okay. Yeah, there's
Halfling.
yeah, there's not there's the occasional sort of rotting corpse down here, where someone couldn't have even been bothered to give it to a body collector to be taken to the boneyard. Quite possibly the bodies that you occasionally come across here are basically victims of crime that have been disposed of as well. So please, yeah, Drago, give me a description of how you are progressing through here to try and track these things. Occasionally they branch off in different directions. This is a labyrinth.
I think it's gonna just be as best possible, keeping an eye for any signs of like the close to where the crypt was broken into would have like paused to examine the walls for any kind of telling gouge marks and things if there's like a particular size of claw or anything like that. So we'll be keeping an eye for that on the walls where such marks are, particularly when it comes to choosing a corner. Um, and as best possible, again, this is a place that stinks to high heaven, but where possible, trying to, if there's any hints or signs of that kind of musty death smell that was quite unique to the ghouls and the ghasts, trying to, if I can pick that out, and so just trying to keep what clues we've got, and occasionally, just clutching at holy symbol and muttering and wondering if that's going to help.
Okay, perfect.
Andy,
So,
can I just
yeah,
interject? Is there any sign of things brushing past the wall? Because you said it was quite a small tunnel.
yeah, I mean, this is
Not
perhaps
just
one
like
way.
claw scraping, but maybe shoulders
Yeah,
Yeah.
brushing against a wall. Now, is there? What are the walls? Is it a brick sewer?
it is a brick sewer. It's
Is there slime on the? Is there like?
there is slime. I mean, it's basically straight walls that are crumbling, and I mean the walls are
If they're crumbling,
covered.
if someone brushes past, would that cause them to crumble
Yeah, yeah.
further, and then you get a little pile of dust on the floor or something?
Well, it won't be dust because it's
Right,
kind of wet crumble.
fair
Basically,
enough.
but you can still sort of notice there are ways. It's relatively narrow and it's kind of vaulted as well. These things are perhaps only 5 feet tall at the highest apex of it.
Aaron almost doesn't have to bend down.
Yeah, yeah. They, I mean, you don't when you build these kind of things, you don't build them as vast edifices. You build them as tight and as small as you can for construction costs and gear. And the walls are caked with all sorts of things that have started growing here, all sorts of strange chemical interactions that are perhaps totally above your heads. You see, smears of sort of some kind of white growth. There are these horrible sort of perhaps limestone stalactites that have sort of formed on the ceiling that look eerie, kind of like either teeth or little tendrils that move. The whole sewer, I mean, it stinks to high heaven, and you're wading through it, sometimes ankle deep, sometimes much deeper. Um, So let us establish this first. I want a single roll off you to determine how well you are doing, and this will be determining how difficult it is for you to navigate these sewers and follow the trail. So it's up to you to decide. This is just a simple check. It could be wisdom or intelligence using these.
I would go with wisdom on the basis that that's my priestly
Hmm.
uh, thing, but because this is, I'm kind of leaning into my my knowledge as a priest to help me on
Aaron
this.
has been watching Drago, and then he's trying to interpret what he said. He's looking for claw marks. So my interjection, I think, is about Aaron trying to learn about what kind of things to look for, and he's looking at the walls and he's seeing these, there are any stalactites hanging and that. So I think Aaron's using his brain
Yeah. So you're gonna
try and
you can both
interpret.
make different roles if you're doing this. You've got the light, and it's unpleasant down here. So we'll start off with you, Drago. Give us a wisdom check.
That's a
Very
natural
nice.
20.
That
That's
is.
2 for 22.
So that is a critical success. I will take this. Let's see if Aaron can bugger this up now.
Jasmine's basically looking for good footing.
Wow.
Get out of town.
Well,
Come on. Come on.
this is how we like the dice to tell stories.
That's the high watermark, kids. Let's all go home. Thanks for watching.
2 natural 20s. I think.
Oh, look, I'm
Just to balance
compensating.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to say that this is going to be an easy trail for you to follow, as you have set the bar for it with 2 natural 20s. These are critical successes. So I'm going to say you're only going to encounter 4 things in this sewer. Well, I'm going to say you're going to encounter 1d4 things. So as Jasmine didn't really do any of the critical rolling, let us see. If you roll a d4 and let us see how many things we are randomly charting this. That's a 2. It's very good. So you could have ended up with up to 16 different things and challenges and all sorts of things that you could have come across. So first and foremost, your first of your 2 encounters. Jasmine, roll us 2d6. An 11. Wow, this is interesting. So as you moving through this, you take time. It's going to take you half an hour as you move through. You're following the trail fairly effectively. So I'm going to dock you half an hour off your light source. You're aware it is taking this amount of time. And ahead of you, you can hear splashing, as if that there is someone ahead of you.
Jasmine gets shield and sword ready, taking up a crouching position to make herself as small as possible behind the shield, and whispers to the other guys, "Hang back."
I will shield the light as best I can, so it's giving Jasmine maybe a foot in front of her to see, but it's not spilling all the way down the tunnel.
Okay, and there's definitely a light sort of coming round as well. There is something coming in the opposite direction. What is this? What is this thing, though? That is the question. We will see. Oops, that is the
Question for the GM,
yeah.
if I may. With
Yeah.
my familiarity with undead and ghosts and ghouls and those sorts of things, would I know whether ghouls can see in the dark without the aid of a torch?
Yes, you do. Of course they can.
I would whisper that to Jasmine to suggest that ghouls don't need a torch. So if they've got a light source, they might not be that.
Yeah,
Just as a
you get
precursor.
the impression that this is someone that needs a torch. moving through the sewers.
Jasmine whispers back, "It's still something we can bleeping kill."
It was information. That was all. I was just trying to help.
It's not always wise to kill everything.
Boom, boom, boom. 18, 6, and 9. My maths brain is sort of saying that's really interesting. I don't know particularly why.
33, I think.
No, it's individual, but 2 9s are 18. And I believe 3 6s are 18 as well. Is that right? That's maths.
Yes.
There's a pattern in that maths somewhere telling me, and
It must have meaning.
Yeah, and the meaning that it has. If anybody
There's
has
3 individuals with initiative rolls.
no, we don't worry about that. If anybody is watching at home, I'm using the NPC Shadowdark randomized tables, and what we have turning the corner is a human with a lantern, and they are of adult age, sort of probably late 20s. I am looking at this. You see them, and as they see you, they sort of back up, and as they back up, they slip and they drop their lantern. Cascades goes out. Oh no! Don't. I have no. I have no coin. Please. I haven't seen you either. Just let me be on my way.
Why are you bleeping down here, sneaking around in the bleeping sewers?
I mean, that's a good question. He wipes his brow, and it's at this point you notice he has 6 fingers. He says, well, sometimes sometimes you find things down here. Sometimes things that are worthless. Other times, who knows? Who knows? You know what they say. He kind of pauses.
Bleep?
I can think of a few sayings, but
Well,
they're not very appropriate. Fear not, friend.
he calms down a touch.
Do not worry. My friend Jasmine is quite
Don't
Language.
bleeping
Direct.
tell him my bleeping name like that. You haven't been into bleeping juiced.
Jasmine,
she's
you
quite
say.
direct.
I'm Bellio. Pleased to meet you.
Does Jasmine know of Bellio?
No, you don't know of Bellio.
What kind of what's he wearing?
I mean, shit-stained robes at the moment.
Rags, kind of.
Yeah. Look. There's where there's muck, there's brass. Yes. And there's certainly muck down here. So I've fallen on hard times, and all sorts of things get thrown down here. And I'm just having a little bit of a root around.
You're not the only one who dwells down here or spends time down here. There are other dwellers.
Oh yes, terrible things sometimes. Terrible. Sometimes I have to submerge myself in the most terrible things. But it is best to stay hidden. Some of them lurk in the darkness, waiting. The sewers are an absolute terrible, dangerous place. I'm sure not to find folk like you who have a legitimate reason to be down here.
Have you seen any bleeping ghouls carrying a sack of what might be bones?
Ah, it's funny you should say that, actually. But yes, a coincidence perhaps, but not for a few hours ago did I not see just that very scene. Them moving along, cackling to themselves with their skipping gaits and loathsome tongues. Um, I wanted none of that, and I hid.
Very wise.
Flesh eaters, terrible things.
Indeed. Did
And
you
sorry,
note which way they went?
Well, he points behind him, that direction. Are you saying that you perhaps would like to hire my services as a guide to this fine labyrinth?
at this point, Aaron reaches into his pouch and pulls out a couple of gold coins.
His eyes just go bright and wide. Oh, hey. A feast for a pauper there.
One now,
Huh? Yes.
one after.
He says, indeed, it'll be my pleasure. I'm a grimer. I grub around in the sewers. I turn my hand at perhaps rat catching, occasionally scavenging, all sorts of things. You're my greatest find, you three. Look at you all with your fresh faces and perfumed ways.
Guide as well, and today might be even more productive.
Mhm. Splendid. He's more than happy to take the coin. He picks up his lantern, and you see that he's basically accident prone as well as he bumps into things.
Oh,
Um,
good.
Excellent. Just what we need. Well, we're sneaking through sewers.
he
We've found Baldric.
Yeah, he kind of lifts his lantern out of the sewer, and it's just filled up full of sort of sewer water, and it's like it just all sort of leaks out of it. He says, "Oh, well, I bet I'm not going to be using that anytime soon. It's going to have to dry out. It's a good job you have light."
At this point, I'll hand a torch to um, Drago to light it. If you're carrying a torch, that is. If you want to try your spell again, that's fine too.
I mean,
I,
lanterns are torches down here could open flame. Whoosh, whoosh. But, some of the gases down here can just explode.
okay.
Jasmine
So,
puts the torch away and says, "Well, just make sure that we have light, Drago."
I'll do my best. How much time have I got left on the spell by this point?
Well,
Do I have an inkling generally, or
yeah. I mean, uh, it makes sense as an adventurer crawler that you measure these things. You were about 10 minutes down in the cellar, and you've explored a little bit, and then sort of travelled for about another 30. So you're getting to your final 10 minutes, perhaps.
so I'm primed, ready to attempt to recast. But if, as we move forward, we get to a point where things start to look like hairy, then I'd kind of like before we get into any worrying areas, if that makes sense. But yeah, I would leave it as long as possible.
Okay, so you travel forward. If you're trusting this man to go ahead slightly, he wants to stay in the light. He says you need to be careful. There's things that cling, that emerge from the waters. They like the dark. Um, have any of you been checking for leeches? It's always best to check.
Jasmine is wearing nearly knee-high boots, so should be fine.
Should be. Right little buggers they are, though. So you carry on wading through. That 10 minutes passes fairly rapidly. Well, rapidly for 10 minutes. And suddenly you begin to realise that you perhaps are going to have to cast it now.
Okay, I will suggest to Jasmine to pause while I do so and quietly pass word to Belio to do the
Leo,
same.
fucking stop.
Oh, he stops. What? What have you seen?
Nothing, but we need to get light going again.
Oh, good. Oh, you have a priest amongst your. Oh, what are you? No questions. I understand.
Oh, he's only a bleeping priest part-time, but yeah.
Part-time priest sounds good. For a bit of the communion wine, eh? Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, spell casting. Right. Okay. DC 11. Let's see what happens.
You of course all have a luck point. Please, Drago, tell us what your modifier is to the 6 that you've rolled.
It's a +2, so that's an 8 total.
Okay. And an 8 is less than an 11?
It is. Last time I looked.
I believe that is what we call a failure.
Is.
Do you wish to lose the light spell for the moment? Chance your time with torches in the sewers?
I think, guys.
Yeah, I'll hand him a torch.
Okay.
Do you bleeping know how to work the bleeping tinderbox?
Yes, I know. Look. Hey.
Just let me see if I can. Just let me just see if I can have a go at that myself. And I reach out and what were you trying to light, Drago?
Just the end of my staff.
He was
Okay,
trying to cast the light spell, not set something
So-
alight.
Yeah. I'm going to reach out and just touch it while my other hand fumbles around inside my shirt.
Okay, so
I'm just
you're
going to reach out and
fumbling inside your shirt and reaching out for
And muttering.
Drago's staff.
and
Hold the
muttering,
staff out. Lean back slightly.
and I can't do it either. So I've either lost my light spell or
Yeah, you each have a luck point.
yeah, I know.
So again,
But
you reach out and
it seems Ord's words don't reach down here.
no one really.
Wordless bleeping spellcasters. Jasmine mutters under her breath, but still very audible.
I'm going to attempt to light the torch.
Okay. Yeah. So you can the torch, and it burns with a strangest green light. It's enough light to see by though, but there's something here, and you see that it flares up occasionally as you move through, and then dies down again.
Excellent.
Okay. Cross that torch off. Good
Yeah.
start.
Will do.
And
That's what I
I
do all the time.
will set the torch timer. This time for 30 minutes because you move and it takes you 30 minutes to get to the next troublesome spot. Let us see what you encounter next. Who would like to roll randomly to see what you find in the sewers this time? 2d6, please. Aaron, give it a go. Oh, is that a 7? I see.
7.
It is.
Oh, very nice. Roll a d20.
That'd be horrible, isn't it?
This an 8. I am using these tables. I don't know whether we changed the tables, but I'm using the ones that I sent you previously. Jasmine, I've got high boots. Genuinely, on my document, this is what you have rolled. You are moving through confident with your high boots. Leeches are not going to bother you. And then slithering out of the darkness is this giant leech, the size of a massive dog, and it just kind of rears up out of the water, this lamprey-like mouth. As well, you've got your wish, Jasmine. You wanted something to fight.
I'm sorry.
I would like you all to give me wisdom rolls to see whether you're not surprised by this. You do have light. I need to move to this and the monsters. I mean, Matt is aware, if anybody's read our sewer tables, there are some really nasty things that lurk down here.
I have 9.
That's okay. I'm just going to sort of check on because we're playing the game as it's meant to be, with lots of random things happening. So I am having to find the appropriate things. Giants. Okay. Perhaps it's under Leech Giant rather than Giant Leech.
Yeah, I think giant versions are thing, giant.
Yeah.
If memory serves
That's
in the book.
okay. I'm fairly certain it is a standard monster. There we go. So this thing has a dexterity of -1, but I am going to give it a stealth to see whether it surprises you.
It surprised me.
Well, you never know. It's a D20, and we'll take 1 off this. So I believe that is 7, not a 1, but -1 is a 6. So Jasmine, what did you get?
I got a 9.
Okay, so you were not surprised. Aaron, what did you get?
I got an 11.
So you're not surprised. Drago, were you definitely surprised then?
I got a natural 1 + 2 for a 3.
Okay, a natural 1 is a critical. Don't worry about your modifiers. This thing
Well, no,
surprises
that's why I
you.
raised it.
I feel something horrible should happen to you. Not only are you surprised, the surprise takes a turn for the worst for you. I'm going to let you, on your turn, which is going to happen next round, think of how this cinematically plays out. In the meantime, we will roll initiatives now. So all of you can roll initiatives, which is a dex check, I believe.
16 for Jasmine.
16 for Jasmine.
13 for Aaron.
9 for Drago.
Oh, Drago.
Yeah, -4 on Dex.
Drago is surprised, so isn't going to act on this first round. And again, the giant leech has a terrible dex, so it's going to be -1 on this roll.
It's not as terrible as Draco's, though.
-1 on this. So it's going on 9 as well. Okay, so Jasmine, you're not surprised by it as this. You see the ripples underneath the effluent as something moves, akin to the scene in the Death Star in the
Compactor. Yeah.
And in that last moment, it emerges, rising up out of the water, sort of meeting you eye to eye. I mean, your boots can only protect you so much.
Sword to the maw.
Yeah, You said you were carrying your sword, so feel free to have a strike.
$18.
Yep, that is easily going to hit and give me some damage.
5.
Okay. Terrible wounds on this as it begins to regret its life decisions as you slice down upon it. Ichor sort of spills out of its thick, loathsome body. And then, Aaron,
I
you...
also sideways, so I'm blocking my companions from being able to get attacked by the leech.
Yeah, sounds good.
Since the tunnel is rather narrow, that should not
Yeah,
be
I mean,
necessary.
it's very cramped. There's no places to really sort of hide. It's only about 5 foot tall, and maybe a foot of that is full of effluent anyway. So we move to Aaron.
Aaron raises his hand and mutters something in some foul and diabolical language and attempts to magic missile thing.
Wow, not messing around here. So you get to roll at advantage. Magic missiles are rolled with advantage in Shadowdark, which gives you the great opportunity of not getting a critical roll or critical fail at it. So we'll take the highest, which is the 17 on the dice. Do you have a modifier to your intelligence?
I do, yes, it's +3.
Perfect, that's a 20. So that's easily a hit as well. Give me some damage.
So is it a D4 for? I believe it's a D4, isn't it, for magic missile?
It is.
Yes.
1.
1.
It kind of goes, psst, little zap.
It still hits it. It is the leech's go. We do have rules for morale here. This is an immune to morale. You have reduced its hit points by half. So I'm going to do a wisdom check for it to see whether it's going to slither away this glossy black blood drinking slug. I'm going to say
it's a -1 for its wisdom.
How do you know that?
I printed out I went all in on the
This
Kickstarter.
is my giant leech. This is my giant leech. So it might have different stats. But you're right, it has -1. It is hungry. It hasn't had any fresh blood in days. Let me see if I can actually hit Jasmine as you are blocking the way. What does it need to roll to hit?
My armor class is 16.
16. Very nice. It has +1 to bite you. So we'll see how this goes. Just a single attack. You got lucky with what is down here. Fails completely as this thing launches at you, kind of dripping with its own ichor and the horrible fetid sewer water as it just launches itself at you, body checks you and is trying to find purchase on your flesh. Too armored, it sort of slithers down your body and splashes into the horrible, horrible waters beneath your feet. That is the round 1 over. Drago still not acting. Paralyzed maybe with fear, but we will find out what happens. Jasmine, it is your go again. Yes, you hit strong
4.
blow. Give me some more damage. 4.
6.
Yeah, that is enough. 10 hit points as you. How do you finish this thing off?
It's basically slid down at my feet, so I put one boot on its body and just stab the sword down through its just behind its maw and just just make a chopping motion so basically the maw section gets separated from the rest of the body.
It takes a few moments for it to truly realize it's dead as it's still thrashing around, throwing up sewer water, covering everybody in it. Aaron, you are aware of this, and the initiative is kind of over. But I'm very interested to see how Drago has reacted to all of this with his, let me remind you, natural one. And apologies, Matt, you are the most unluckiest person in Shadowdark.
So, because it was a natural one,
Yep.
I feel like as it burst out of the ground, I will have kind of gone "Ah!" and leapt back, or just like stumbled back, and in doing so, possibly lost my grip on the torch. So what I would propose is I now make some kind of dexterity check, which isn't going to go well, to see if I can catch this torch before it drops into the water. Or
Wow.
if you feel like it's a natural one, guys, that feels like, let's be honest, Drago's luck. That feels like the way to go.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's appropriate. Well, with a proviso. I mean, the torch is dropped and it's spinning. You can reach out to grab it. If you succeed, you succeed. If you fail, you catch the torch at the wrong end and will take 1d4 fire damage before then dropping it because it's burning hot into the sewer. Of course, you can just let it drop into the sewer and no.
Like as it is, I'm going to get it in the neck from Jasmine at the very least. But let's at least try and rescue my situation slightly.
Okay, you have a chance here. We do need to set a DC. 25. Does that sound? I mean, how about?
It doesn't matter what you set.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm going to be kind because you're right. I mean, this is going to burn you more than the torch. Because I'm going to set the DC at 9. So if you fail this,
Okay. In slow mo, you see
Tense.
the
Tense.
leaping forward as
I love the fact that the thing is actually dead by the time you drop your torch.
yep, that tracks.
Roll
that
your
tracks.
d4.
Yeah, I'm going to let you damage yourself because I mean that's technically how this has played out. You do have a luck point, I believe.
No, I feel like considering how well it's gone so far when we're just in the sewers. I'm
Yes,
probably going to need that to fight some ghouls.
absolutely.
Right, one d4 for
One
damage.
d4 damage. Yeah.
Yeah, 4.
You grasp hold of it.
It's
Like, got it! Ah!
Yeah.
The smell of burning flesh is not pleasant as you, and then you drop it, and then the light goes out. And
From
Very,
the
very
dark.
quietly, you just hear not a word, Jasmine, not a word. I know.
From the dark, Jasmine goes, "Who dropped my bleeping torch?" And then from her backpack, she gets the second torch that she has, and she sort of like waves it around until it hits Drago.
Thank you.
not that I really want to punish you, but I'm going to roll a d6 as well. Yeah, the commotion, the fact that it went dark, I just kind of incur whether you have drawn the attentions of anything else, but it is that one that we need, and you are okay. So it takes several moments for you to recover, get that torch lit again. I mean, your hand is, I mean, realistically burnt, so it's tender, it's sore. You're finding it difficult to hold things in it at the moment. You can bandage it up, of course. Wow.
Aaron takes his red scarf off his head and offers it to Drago to wrap his hand.
Thank you. I'll be fine, but thank you. I appreciate it. Let it air and quicker to heal.
In the healthy sewer air.
In the healthy sewer air. Yeah. Yep.
I've started a brand new timer now. 60 minutes on the new torch.
Yes.
So yeah, this horrible thing in the water now defeated, almost unscathed by everybody.
I fish Bellio out of the water that
Yeah.
he probably dove into.
He probably had something to do with Drago getting that natural one. To be honest, he's very accident prone and quite possibly bumped into him. Yeah, we need to watch out for those. Those were the leeches that I was warning you about. We're lucky. Normally they come in numbers. Right. I want to earn this other gold coin, so let us not tarry. And he begins to wade off through the sewers, and he's not leading you just down a single sort of line of sewers. There are offshoots, and it's a complete sort of labyrinth. Certainly not going in sort of a grid-based system either. But you have a grimer to lead you, which is good because not only do you follow the trail, but you emerge from the sewers at the right destination. And unsurprisingly, as you emerge, you are very close to the boneyard itself. Yeah, I mean, no great surprise here for you. You emerge and it's late afternoon now. I think you went, if I remember rightly, to the chapel fairly early in the day. And yeah, it's not yet truly dark. And for those of you who have not visited the boneyard, impressive is not the word, but you just see this huge expanse of white and like one of those magic eye pictures, when you squint and sort of focus, you begin to realize that all of this white is piles upon piles upon piles of bone, sun bleached at the top, perhaps darkened deeper down.
Jasmine starts looking for a sun-bleached halflinger skeleton and opens her sack and starts putting one in one of the sacks.
I mean, you can find small bones here. Are you particularly bothered about it being a halfling or just small boned?
Child.
I have no. Jasmine probably has no idea what the difference between the two of them is. She's just looking for a smallish skull and a smallish rib cage and a smallish pelvic bone and short legs and arms and stuff like that.
I mean, as you sort of move across, it's almost like beach combing, looking for shiny pebbles or fossils.
How will the priestess know that we bring back the correct skull?
That's what I bleeping said.
How will they know?
They might not know, and I think that's something that, yes, it's maybe not the right thing to do, but I think we could potentially do so. I do think if it's going to work, it will need to be a halfling. Because she might not be able to tell. But if whoever is coming looks at the bones, they probably will.
Okay,
So
you go find it, and Jasmine empties the bag and hands it to Drago.
Well, I think we need to find the right bones first for the real job, and then This is the secondary job. Because
Bellio,
we
which
have
way?
to find Loric's skull. That's a thing. And then,
Okay.
worst case, we can use that as a reference for finding an alternative Loric for the good priestess.
Okay. And she tucks the sack back into her backpack.
Is Bellio still with us?
He's kind of looking at you expectantly, Aaron. They
Which way, Bellio, my friend? Which way did they go from here? The ghouls.
He shrugs. I saw them way back in the sewers. I didn't follow them here. I just followed the signs of their movement. They have headed into the boneyard. I've heard tales of the boneyard, though. Have you heard the whispers of the kingdom of the ghouls?
I know nothing of them. It's not
Ah.
my it's not my area.
Well, my travelling through the sewers has made me really, really parched. Difficult to speak.
I fish into my pocket. My friend, buy yourself a drink after you've told us everything. And I hand him another gold.
Well, I'll try my best. Try to clear my throat. There we go. Yes. From what I've heard is there are warrens beneath the boneyard, extensive warrens that, they formed their own, I suppose, district, really. These creatures of undeath, these ghouls, and I've heard tales that some of them are quite intelligent, and there are those of Ibihor that use some of these to skulk in the darkness, to hear whispers and gather information. And there is I suppose, a clan or a tribe of them that have united to put those skills to best use. I've also heard that there is a smaller faction of ghouls that perhaps in life they studied magics or whatever, and they still seek to fulfill their goals in life. And of course, we know the undead. Well, undead like ghouls cannot use magics, so they follow their dreams in a different way through the mixing of various tinctures and brews, and they are fairly skilled at alchemy. And then the others that, well, look down upon these, that cling on to mortal desires of gathering information or working their magics, and these are wild savages only guided by their hunger. They form the third sort of faction. They do compete, but are not at war amongst themselves, and together they form this so-called kingdom. And maybe
Sounds like we bleeping have to hurry before bleeping Lori gets pulverized.
well, I cannot tell you any more. You could head out, seeking out entry into the warrens. But if you do, fair warning, my friends, you might just end up as meat to fill their bellies.
So are the bones imbued with power?
They bleeping seems to bleeping think so.
Or, if nothing else, bone is an alchemical ingredient.
Aaron kind of like looks around. Any bones will do.
Well, perhaps there is something to be gained from bones with. I mean, the gods exist. We know this, so
Maybe
maybe a
if they
saint's
are
bones
imbued
are
with
more
some.
viable. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Aaron, do you give him his coin?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Aaron does. He offered two. You said one now, one later. And therefore,
He smiles and says, "Good luck to you all in your whatever you're up to."
Aaron gives a little nod, like little bow kind of thing, and says, "Thank you, Belial."
Before Balian moves off, Jasmine grabs him at the
Ah!
basically between thumb and four fingers at the least dirty part of his clothing and turns him around and goes, "So which is the closest entrance for the guys that want to use the bones? If there's 3 factions, there's probably 3 different groups. We only need the one that has the bones."
I don't know. I didn't follow them this far. As I said, they passed me, and I saw the marks that they made through the sewers. My skill lies down there amongst the shit.
"Okay, off you bleep and go." And she sort of half pushes him.
And he heads off into the sewers, happily jingling his coins.
"Yeah, make sure you make lots of bleeping noise so the bleeping leeches can find you."
He doesn't respond. He's quite scared of you, Jasmine.
I'm quite scared of Jasmine.
Everyone's scared of Jasmine.
Very wise.
but Jasmine's a lamb. A very, very angry lamb that likes to bite lots of people.
Excuse me. A voice hails behind you, and as you sort of turn, you see an individual struggling with a cart loaded with corpses. Excuse
Well, he's
me.
got bleeping fresh ones. We don't need him. And Jasmine starts walking off towards one of the.
Oh, and as you move out, he's kind of
Yeah,
wiggles his cart a little, and as he does, it kind of tips, and the entire load of corpses kind of collapses into the mud. It's a terrible place. Sorry. You see that one of the bodies actually begin to move.
Aaron immediately moves to the body that is moving.
No, don't worry. Don't want to trouble you.
Kneels as kneel. I'm kneeling down to see this.
Yeah. What's the problem?
Aaron's ignoring him and looking at the body.
Mm-hmm.
This moving.
Yeah,
when you say they move,
yeah, it's just that you see the arm. At first, you think it's just flopped, but you kind of see the fingers kind of wiggle a little bit.
is it any warmth to it? Is there any warmth to the body? Is he,
Yeah.
He reaches and touches the hand.
You touch it, and as you touch it, what?
And I'm
He's bleeping drunk, not bleeping dead.
I pull out a handkerchief and start to like wipe his face, and
yeah,
and kind of like
you see bleary eyes looking back at you. The body collector says, "Oh, not again. Not again. I hate it when they do this. It's okay, I can deal with it." And he just pulls out a dagger.
No.
Oh, he's dead, or like was on my cart, which is more or less the same.
I
Oh,
got paid for him already. And if he dies later, you can get paid for him twice if you let him go now.
well, I'm just thinking the person might want their coin back if he's not dead.
I feel like if they've sold him, he's unlikely to want to go back to where they were.
Well, it weren't moving when I loaded him onto the cart. Big bugger as well. He almost put me back out.
There's
Look,
no danger of Aaron picking him up then if he's a big bugger.
no, he's big, overweight. Look, I don't want any trouble here. He's all yours if you want him. I mean, I'm just going to take the dead and dump him.
Before you bleeping do that, where do the bleeping ghouls live that collect
Oh,
bleeping magic bones?
well, there's a lot. There's a lot to digest with all of that language. Ghouls, magic bones.
Why don't we focus on? We've heard that there are Warren's tunnels, that there are ghouls in this region. If you know where, we can find them.
Well,
Happy
not on
to
first
have you.
name terms with them, he says, but
Wouldn't expect you to be, my
I
friend.
tell you what, you help me load my cart up. We'll get it to a dumping site, and I'll see what I can do for you. How about that?
Very well.
It's like a
Right.
large wheelbarrow, so it's got this single wheel at the front, and it's very unwieldy, and it was very overloaded.
Aaron starts to fairly ineffectually try to pick corpses up.
Yeah,
We'll do the same.
yeah. It's by about
Just
the third corpse that you realise two of them have kind of large, unsightly black welts, growths upon them. These are probably diseased.
Endeavour to
I was
hurt
going to say
as much as
Jasmine has sat down and started sharpening her sword.
fair. Yeah. Well, but regardless, I've committed myself. Gonna do what I can to help load up.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Are
no
we going one at the feet and one at the shoulders kind of thing, and picking them up by their claws, trying not to touch these horrible buboes?
I think, yeah, as carefully and
that's it.
cautiously as possible. But
Yeah.
yeah.
One of them does have their throat slit.
Aaron doesn't display my personal distaste.
Yeah.
He
So,
just quietly goes about the business like it's just a job that needs doing.
so you are left with this other individual that's on the floor at the moment, kind of trying to focus, and he lets out an incredibly large belch. Oh, I think I needed that.
It's good to see signs of life.
Uh, I tell you what, I feel like death warmed up though. Oh, I went on a right session last night, carousing. I mean, I don't think it was one night. I think I caroused for a good number of days. You know how they all blur into one.
Jasmine immediately stands up and walks over to him and starts going through his pockets. Since if he managed to carouse for several nights, he's probably loaded.
Well, I think you'll find that someone has caroused for that amount of nights are quite the opposite. They are without coin whatsoever.
What's the quality of his clothing?
His
Is it
clothing is certainly not from the Wet Warrens. You think that he was probably some kind of merchant, but certainly the body collector would have an idea of where they picked him up from. And the other thing, Jasmine, is so this individual has obviously gone through a number of people's hands before it's got to this place as well. You don't honestly think that this body collector just takes the bodies without doing what you want
Checking
to
them
do.
first. No.
So
Yeah,
it's not me being a devious GM stopping you getting it, but this makes perfect sense that he has nothing of value on it. But the quality of clothes are, I mean, they're soiled quite badly now,
Yeah.
but of a decent quality. I mean, his boots, very nice. Very, very, very nice. Surprised that no one's actually taken those yet.
Jasmine does.
Okay. Oh, well, Jasmine sort of, as you start pulling, what? Why are you undressing me? Are you going to tuck me in, love?
There's a bleeping orphan in desperate need of your bleeping boots.
Well, they're my boots. Tell him
Not
to
anymore.
get a job. Oh, these orphans. They should be up chimney, down mine, down pit.
What is your
Uh,
name? What is your name, my friend?
My name's Ruan. Ruan
Are you,
the Red. Yes.
and do you know
Hence,
where you are?
eh,
Have your eyes gained sight yet? Are you capable of focusing?
I don't know. This one is just trying to pull my. Stop pulling my boots off.
You're Ruan the Bootless now.
I don't know where have I got myself home. I remember Gertu. She was so sorry. My wife is Tuma. I remember. Sorry, Tauma. Tauma was so pleased to see me. She encouraged me to drink more, and I passed out again. And then the only other thing I remember is waking up here. I had a sense of flying through the very air, and then landing quite heavily.
That was your bleeping spirit leaving your bleeping body. You're bleeping dead.
I'm dead. I don't
Look
feel
around
dead.
you. See, Jasmine hands him a random skull from the pile next to him.
Right.
Bleeping look in this skull's bleeping eyes. This is what you are now.
He looks very confused. He's obviously very, very hungover as well. No. I tell you what, I feel like death warmed up, but if you're dead, you don't have a hangover like this. And again, he kind of belches and says, "Oh, sorry, I think I might have been a little bit sick there. Oh, I've swallowed it. It's." His breath is now very bitter. Well,
I think the best thing you could do is probably get out of here as quickly as possible.
all right.
I think
Without
you're
your
probably
boots.
My
closer
boots.
to death than you probably realise.
All right. This is I should be in the flesh pits. Uh, right. Gonna have to
I
find my
think
way
you
through.
you're in the boneyard.
But yeah, I know. But
But
my wife, Tauma, we have a property in the. I mean, she says it's hers because she's the one that does the work. I do the spending, if you know what I mean. One of the advantages of having a wife that works in the flesh pits. Whoa. Yeah, I'll make my way back to her. Thank you, friends. Oh, what's her? Oh, my feet are cold.
I
His
think
boots
you've
have
got more.
disappeared from sight. They're in Jasmine's backpack.
I think you've probably got more things to worry about than cold feet.
He's kind of overweight and begins to sort of squidge through the horrid mud, kind of stopping every 2 minutes to sort of look and try and find where his directions, his bearings. you're not entirely sure he's going to make it all the way back to the flesh pits, as he's got to make his way through the warrens as well.
I'm kind of thinking he's I mean, it's not really our responsibility, and it's for he kind of sounds like he kind of talked himself into this.
Well, it sounds like his wife had
Yeah.
enough and decided to make some coin out of it. So I think if he gets back, then he was clearly meant to, and if he does, at least she got a little coin out of it.
Yeah. The gods work in strange ways.
They do.
It's a nice bleeping circular bleeping economy, though.
Do you think the ghouls will get him? Or will they go for the corpses?
Lots of bleeping meat on him.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm, taking my break, sometimes it's hard work. I travel throughout the whole of Ibayo. Not the spires, of course. The spires, they don't have use of my services, but the flesh pits, the wet warrens, the bazaar, even they pay me coin to take bodies down here, and I dump them. Quick burial. There are occasionally priests, but when the priests are not around, I sometimes sit and eat my lunch as I watch the ghouls emerge and devour the flesh. I feel like I'm bonding with them as I'm eating my sandwiches and watching them strip the bones of these.
Do you like some company for lunch?
Well, I mean, you've helped me. Yeah. I mean, let's get this cart down here and get it tipped. I know a good spot if you want to go ghoul fishing.
A
Well-
good spot might be good to know, if nothing else.
I mean, don't know why you let him go. We could have just a quick. He would have been oblivious of it. But each to their own. Good find, by the way, those boots. I missed those.
The bleeping mine now.
It's not a bad business, this body collecting lark. Come on, give us a help. And the wheelbarrow is very wobbly, and you assuming
Jasmine will offer to do the wheelbarrow. Not the corpses, but the wheelbarrow's fine.
you manipulate this, and you make your way. And I say, this is just, the boneyard is vast. It's just not a small pile of bones. It's this not just sea, ocean of bones stretching out into the distance. Centuries upon centuries of corpses dumped here. And bearing in mind the population of this city-state is beyond imagination, you can just think of how it has piled up over the many years. You see, as you are helping him with this, a couple of priests moving around of different denominations, kind of reacting to you differently.
What sort of priest?
Oh, well, I am very pleased that you asked that. You are a kind of acolyte, aren't you? Of sorts.
Yeah, Jasmine is as well. She would also be looking to see if one of her god's priest is there too.
Mm-hmm. So the priests that you easily can sort of take note of, I suppose, really, seems to be the darker of the gods, or rather those that tend towards chaos. There doesn't seem to be any priests here consecrating ground, stopping the dead from rising. These seem to be sort of looking over whether there are any bodies that have perhaps passed them by that they can learn secrets from. And you see that certainly there is Shun the Vile represented here, and also Ramlat, perhaps for a
Jasmine Wave said that one.
different reason. Do you want to let us know, Jasmine, what Ramlat represents?
If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I read the handbook. It was chaos and bloodthirst, basically.
Also known as Ramlat the Pillager, Barbaric, and the Horde. Many orcs worship him and live by the blood rite, a prophecy that says only the strongest will survive this coming doom. And one of these priests is in fact a doom sayer, as they shout out to you, "The end is nigh."
And Jasmine responds by slamming her sword against her shield and giving out a loud war cry.
The slaughter is coming.
Again, the thumping on the shield.
Those that fear it will be the first to perish.
Aaron fears it. Aaron definitely fears it. He's very, very concerned about. So he's kind of like hiding behind everybody. Everybody else, probably trying to hide behind the cart. So, and particularly when there's the other ones, the other priests, the Shun the Vile priest.
Yeah.
Those, he looks almost terrified.
And you can kind of see that both of these priests that are in the boneyard are probably here for different reasons. The priest of Ramlat seems to be gathering skulls, kind of looking at them, testing them, and kind of seeing how they will look as sort of as decoration upon them. Very much like that, really. Whereas Shuni the Vile priest, you see her, it's a priestess, I guess, sort of moving along and picking up a skull, whispering to it and listening to it and occasionally smiling and then tossing it away. So,
seekers of false knowledge.
Perhaps just a scene, but perhaps either of these two, if you ever wanted to engage them, might have information. It seems that they spend time here. But you have things to do at the moment. And it seems that Gertu, the body collector, goes, damn the gods and the fates. Any of you, if you want to see the feeding fest, you're going to have to get rid of those first. He kind of points at a small group of 3 individuals, and they're moving along the bodies that have been abandoned here already by other body collectors. And they are dragging out some of the corpses, and you see even just upon the edge of the boneyard, they are making large incisions into the body and pulling out organs. Sort of looking at them. Yeah, that's a good one. He says, Goethe says, these are reapers. They sell what they can find to alchemists, to mages for their fell rites. They keep the ghouls at bay.
So the ghouls only get the scraps.
It's not so much that, but the ghouls, they prefer to strike with advantage. They're not going to come out in the day and cause any trouble unless we make it appetizing for them. I've got this whistle, you see, and he brings out this little sort of bone flute. He says, when I put it down, I play them a jolly song, and it's fun to see them caper and dance and feed.
Do you bleeping know where the bleeping ghouls that collect magic bones live?
I don't know if you keep saying about these magic bones. I don't
The
know
ones
what you
that
mean.
do the alchemy, the alchemist one.
I don't really speak with them. I just enjoy their prancings. It amuses me while they eat my sandwiches. I got blood sausage today. It's very nice. I think it's more fat than blood, but tasty still. Bread isn't stale yet. You know what I mean? Living like a king.
Of sorts.
Where do you summon them?
Don't summon them. They come out of the warrens. They don't magically appear. Here,
Yeah, whatever.
where these reapers are, you're going to have to shoo them off. Tell them to go looking for elsewhere. Otherwise, they're going to be arm deep, elbow deep in these bodies before the ghouls even get a chance.
Jasmine sighs and starts walking over to the reapers.
Yeah, they kind of clad in sort of leather that is sort of dyed. It's blood, heavily blood stained, as you can imagine, not from arterial splay. The blood is lung coagulated in the bodies by this point, but it still stains their arms red with viscera when you move across. What's your problem? These are our finds.
Not bloody interested in your bloody corpses.
They are bloody.
We kind of need you to move away for a bit so we can play with the ghouls.
Yeah, well, you know what you can do. You can wait your goddamn turn. We've got business to do. Once we're done, we'll go when we're ready. We were here first.
How bleeping long will this bleeping take?
As long as it takes.
Better bleeping make it 5 minutes.
Yeah, what?
She pulls a sword.
Right. That sounds like you should try and intimidate them.
Yeah.
Now, there's no intimidation skill in Shadowdark because it's all attribute checks. So this is the great thing. I'm more than happy for you to perhaps use your strength as a way of intimidating them, as opposed to what is more standard in RPGs, RPGs, charisma. So yeah, I'm gonna
I
say
never
that.
understood that. If you have a soldier and another like burly barbarian type, they're not going to use their charisma to intimidate. It's their posture, their grimace, their facial expression. That's nothing to do with charisma. It's their body language.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's pros and cons for it, but I totally agree, and I'm certainly happy for you to kind of show your physicality off as a way of perhaps shooing these off. The DC is going to be 13 though. These
Nope, fail.
okay,
6.
a luck point.
Yeah, why the hell why not?
Okay, very nice.
16.
16, yeah, you beat that 13 as you just sort of pull your sword somewhat, and they look at you and they
the two ghoul heads hanging from my belt.
Yeah. They just. All right. Well,
They're so fresh, they're still drooling.
I think we're about done here anyway. So best of luck. And they rapidly begin to sort of box up these items. They're not just grabbing any kind of viscera. You can see that there's a jar of eyeballs and another little container full of hearts, etc., etc. Some fingers. Quite obviously, they're going to use those as perhaps relics of saints. It's amazing how much money can be made in this Reaper industry. But you very rapidly and skillfully move them on without conflict. They move on, and Gertu sort of, I knew you had it in you. Yeah, well, this is good. Let's get it as close as we can. We'll tip it up, and I'll play my flute for you and for them. So you manhandle or woman handle the cart, tip it up, and the bodies tumble. There are sickening sounds of bones cracking. Occasionally see a bone go through the flesh. Right. Oh, yeah, it is definitely time for a little bit of a break. Kind of pulls the cart back, turns it around, jumps onto the back. I mean, it's still stained with all sorts of bodily fluids that have leaked from these, including from the horrible sort of boils and growth on it. He says room for a few more onto the cart if you want.
I think I'm okay here. Thanks.
Suit yourselves. He reaches into a sort of Hessian sack, pulls out his big doorstopper sandwiches that have got like lumps of blood sausage in. He just puts them onto the wagon to one side, ready. All right. I play a little, get them to feed, and then I have my sandwiches. Does anybody want a bite? He says.
Again, thank you, but I'm fine. I can't speak for my two friends, but I think we're probably
I
just
think
in the
Aaron will
show.
take. Sorry, Aaron will accept a bite. I
Okay.
think because it's been politely offered. I think Aaron feels bound to respond and
Okay.
thank you
You take
very gratefully
a
for
bite
his
of this
horrible
sandwich.
blood sausage.
Blood sausage that has like been in his hands that have dealt with dead and put onto the cart full of pestilence and bodily fluids of these.
Might be thinking about that as he's throwing it to his mouth and thinking maybe that's not such a good idea. Oh God, this is awful because etiquette says you've got to.
I mean, you are in the city-state of Ibayor in the boneyard.
I know, but your programming is difficult to break.
Yeah, that's
And it's
fine.
like,
If you want it to be character.
I'll save it for later. And he puts it in, carefully wraps it in his aforementioned handkerchief, and
Okay.
puts it away. I'm sure I mentioned that handkerchief. Though.
You did.
He wraps it up and puts it away for later.
You did. So he forgets himself for one moment and takes a bite of his sandwich. Then he tries to play his flute, and there's still sort of caked, half digested food in his mouth that he blows into his pipe, and it sort of comes out the side of his mouth, and the whistling starts. It's discordant and quite terrible, the piping that he does. And at first, nothing seems to happen. And then you begin to see them clambering out from amongst the bones. These loathsome creatures that kind of stare tentatively at all around to see whether something is going to strike them down. You see they are repulsed by the sun that is now getting lower. It's getting to dusk now.
Oh god, it's getting dark.
But the discordant music combined with the freshish bodies seem to surpass any kind of nervousness. And they seem to truly enjoy this horrible screeching pipe music as they begin to dance amongst each other and caper around, edging ever closer to the pile of bodies presented to them. Gertu laughs. It's jolly japes, watch this. And he blows harder on the pipe, and there is a horrible, horrible screech like nails down a chalkboard that goes through you all. And it seems that is a signal, a sign that the ghouls seem to recognise, and all of them at once stop their capering and prancing and dancing, and with a large skipping gait they leap upon the pile and start devouring, stripping the necrotic flesh from the bone rapidly, boils and no boils. It seems all dead flesh is good.
Are any of them carrying a sack that might contain bones?
No, that would be too easy.
As they were emerging, were there any indications of sort of a locality that they might have been coming from or anything like
Yeah,
that?
you can see where they've emerged, and
Did they all come from one place together, or did they emerge
no,
from different?
they've emerged from different places. And as the sun is dropping down, you notice something. A good distance into the boneyard, you see a much larger ghoul just sitting there, watching, not taking part in any of these prancing around, kind of hunched, almost squatting, but his knees high, and you see that his kneecaps exposed from the flesh. His fingers have grown into talons. His cheek, the flesh that was, has ripped apart. You can see his jawbone, and his tongue occasionally comes out of his cheek as he's just watching and observing. And you do notice he's doing this with intelligence.
Jasmine gets her sword and her shield, and with her shield loosely held next to her leg, and her shield also at her side, so not in front of her. She slowly walks over to where this creature is sitting.
Wait.
No, we need information. He's bloody got it.
I will follow Jasmine unless there's more of a plan than wait coming.
Andy, can you give us a bit of a geography about where we are and where this guy is and where the corpse pile is?
I mean, the boneyard is like this ocean of bones. It stretches
Piles.
out.
I see it in my head as like piles of them, and you know, so it's kind of like
Muddy tracks between them, and
Yeah,
he's sitting on one of a pile, and behind
Yeah.
us is the pile with the dead bodies.
Absolutely. But there's also bones on the top, and they've emerged from underneath where, I mean, this is like strata that has been built up over time, bones upon bones upon bones upon bones upon bones. And they have obviously dug warrens through all of these bones that have built up from centuries of bodies being abandoned here, as this whole area has grown and spread. And yes, there are sort of slightly taller piles of bones, and yes, this one is sitting upon one, just watching.
Aaron's not a direct kind of person. I was gonna, as Drago and Jasmine take this approach, I think that's going to catch his eye. So Aaron's going to duck around and behind piles of bones and attempt to wend his way carefully, keeping low, quietly if he can.
Mm.
I'm not a thief.
So that sounds good. You don't need to be a thief, just have to give me a dexterity skill check.
Yeah, I know. And therein lies the rub.
You have chosen this action, and I appreciate you doing what you want.
Let's actually, I things could be worse.
I don't think so.
What have we got? An 8.
So you move through, and it's like walking on shingle on a beach.
Yeah.
These bones crack beneath your. They don't give way, but they crack as you walk across this bone pile. Begin to move around, and
When Aaron was an acolyte, when he was in training, that he was frequently beaten for being for not being highly dexterous like most of the other acolytes.
Yeah. But you take a different approach. And what's your intention? To get close, but not seen?
To get close and not seen.
Okay. So, I mean, he doesn't see you, this ghoul, or perhaps we should say ghast that is
I
there.
think that's what we're all thinking. Ghast, aren't we?
But Jasmine and Drago, as you get closer, unless you are skilled and understand the nature of sort of ghouls and ghasts, they kind of look the same. But there is one trademark that tells you the difference: the stench. And this thing has a terrible, terrible stench about him. You're a good distance away. We'll probably say sort of near.
Jasmine is still wearing her mask.
It doesn't matter. The mask is not going to protect you from this. It's a nice thought, but it begins to sting your eyes even, and you begin to taste it. It is acrid and truly, truly foul. The fact you've got a mask might give you a degree of advantage, but absolutely does not help you. The two of you approach, and it moves its head, cracking its neck, and there are obviously sounds of bones rubbing against bones as it does, and perhaps flesh ripping and tearing.
Yeah, and before we get there,
Mm-hmm.
I would like when I see Jasmine start to go, I would follow quite quickly and kind of would try and would like to have said something to her on the walk over, if that is okay.
Absolutely. No.
So basically, what I say, kind of following up behind Jasmine, I say, "This might be a terrible idea. Just hear me out. If one of this group is very good at sneaking and likes to trade in information, is that something that Vigita might be able to make use of, do we think? And is it worth seeing if there's a bargain that might be made, or at least an offer of trade?"
Why do you bleeping think I'm not here with my sword ready?
Just wanted to make sure we were on the same page, or at least near to each other. in a similar chapter at least. Okay, fine. I'll follow your lead and help.
You
Another
can do the
thing.
talking after I did the intimidation.
Wow. Okay, we'll see how well this goes. It's a learning curve. So you approach it, observes you, doesn't say anything. You just hear the bones cracking as it sort of limbers its neck up. You see that it sort of scrapes these talons on the ground as well, which scrapes against the bones, but doesn't say anything. And as you get close, there is this terrible stench.
Jasmine unties the 2 skulls from her belt and holds them up to him and says, "Are these yours?"
Is this your attempt at intimidating him?
More like a peace offering,
A peace offering, offering him
bringing back his possessions.
the skulls of people that you might have slain.
Oh boy.
You are role playing your -2 charisma to the hilt here.
Hey, don't forget about the -2 wisdom. They're a lovely
No,
combination.
and I think it's important in case we've got any new watchers, viewers. Jasmine Natasha is role playing her character incredibly well, because everything you've done there, let's face it, is an insult. It's not good, and you see the eyes narrow and the stench begin to sort of grow, sort of flow through the air. In a rasping voice, it says, "You are either foolish or brave to come here and say such things. Or perhaps you have lost your will to live."
At the bleeping moment, I'm just bleeping honest. This in trade for a couple of bones you might have acquired.
You can see this is not going well, Drago. This thing says, "You took those. You have slayed some of our family. And then you come here to offer their corpses as tribute, trade."
Think of it not so much as trade as wanting to open a conversation. You took something that we need. You and your family are perhaps seeking other opportunities and have other things to offer, and there might be people in the city who would be willing to listen. Some of you
Firstly,
I know.
those, he sniffs, are not of my clan. Secondly, business outside the yard is perhaps interesting. I am not a thief. I do not go skulking, as he turns his head towards the cracking of bones where Aaron is around.
Aaron freezes and then kind of reassesses things.
So,
kind of stands up in a sheepish kind of, fair cop.
and this stench now is almost unbearable. I would like anybody that is near him, so that's within 30 feet or so.
I was hoping to get near to him.
Yeah. So
If
anybody
not,
who
well,
you managed to get near to him, but he's obviously aware of you.
yeah.
I'd like you to give me con checks, please. And this is not something he's actively doing. It's just the horrors of the stench, and the target number here is 12.
Cool.
Fail.
Also fail.
Okay, and Aaron, you seem to be
I'm
okay.
Aaron's beefcake.
Mhm.
Look how fit and healthy he is, and the alarm's gone. And
Yeah, your torch goes out, but that's perhaps not appropriate. But the torch is expended anyway because, well, I mean, it's the night is beginning to come now. The sun is beginning to set, but you know, when you burn a torch mechanically, that's that torch
Yeah.
disused, and it's certainly disused now. So those of you who have failed the con check, um, it begins to really affect you. Your eyes are just streaming with tears, and you're beginning to cough. It's overpowering, and mechanically, how this works is that you would have disadvantage on attack rolls and spell casting for some time. But you're not in combat, and it's not ability checks, but there is this absolutely horrible, acrid stench coming from it. So, you call me thief. You come to my yard. These are not words that I like to hear.
can I move forward closely, please? Can I just move a little closer?
Yeah, you can move closer.
Is that okay?
Knows
So
that you're there.
Aaron walks forward in a very meek way, bowing his head, with his head bowed, and just says, "My apologies, my
You're not
lord."
the one that needs to apologize. You're not the one that spoke the words. And he kind of looks pointedly at Jasmine.
But
If
they are
you're not the bleeping one that stole the bleeping bones of Saint Loric, then which ghast was responsible?
She mused, does she not? But no apology do I hear come from her throat.
at
Perhaps
this
I
point.
should rip it open and search for it.
Apologize.
I just look at Jasmine, and by this time, I think Jasmine recognizes the quiet, pleading look in Draco's gaze,
The fairly
knowing that
desperate one from Aaron.
asking's not going to help, but the eyes are saying, "Please, dear God."
She rolls her eyes and says, "Okay, I'm bleeping sorry. We're looking for a bleeping ghast that stole a bleeping skeleton. Can you help us or not?"
No, not help. But I am open to business.
We are in search of the bones that were taken. And if you can point us in the direction, give us any guidance, or facilitate our retrieving them in some way, we would be very happy to make a bargain. I know very little of your people. We know very little of your people, your family. What would be a good term of bargain?
For us, we like things that shine, that are of value, that we cannot make here in our warrants. Things of metal, of glass, things that are pretty and remind us of the times that we lived.
Jasmine sighs, opens her backpack, and gets out the pair of expensive boots.
Once again, I sense that these are neither glass.
Are they patent leather?
Or are they what? Sorry.
Are they patent leather boots by any chance?
I mean, yeah, they are.
It's the only very tenuous link to shiny I can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, there would be like metal clasps and stuff on them, and
Shiny buckles on them, couldn't they?
yeah.
I would like a persuasion, which doesn't exist in Shadowdark, but it is a charisma roll.
Oh, good lord.
You're the one doing the talking. It's up to you as a collective. You are all there as a group. Jasmine has offered these boots, and the boots are well made. Not quite what he was asking for, glass
I
or
think
metal.
then if possible,
Mhm.
I would kind of, once the boots are out, I would kind of seeing this and trying to make the best of it. We don't have such things to hand. We don't carry them with us. My friend here has perhaps a down payment if that is of interest, or if just coin would be preferred, we could make some initial coin
We have no
payment.
use of coin.
Thought not.
It's bleeping shiny.
Eight.
What do you
But if
think
you
we
need,
are like ravens, mindless creatures that just go for things that shine?
it is,
That's
I
magpies.
believe, ornamentation
He sort of his
that
eye
is designed.
twitches and kind of
Uh,
almost pops out of his skull as Jasmine is pushing them to the limit.
I'm,
Sorry, Drago,
I,
you're doing a great
no,
job at trying.
I'm trying. Oh God, I'm trying.
Please.
So we would, I would give my word to return with things. I don't have any now. My
I have.
question would be, would you take, sorry, Aaron.
So, carry on. Sorry, Aaron's kind of slightly nervously.
Okay, he kind of,
Uh,
all I would say is if you are happy, I would give my word to return. If you would be willing to help us first, or you have us at a disadvantage.
That I do, and it would be good for others of your number to realise this.
I'm sure they do. I'm just
they.
kind of stare, and again, that pleading look at Jasmine.
What?
Who are you? Who do you represent?
Teragnis.
We come on behalf of the Red Masks. We
Ah,
have,
the red masks were destroyed. You think I am a
and
fool?
the Red Masks are reborn, and they grow and flourish again.
This is
We bring
Yeah,
And
you.
we
we're
work
bloody
together.
redecorating a bloody den at the moment.
We work to gather friends, allies, people we can work with.
We bring you news from the buff.
if this is true, you have my interest. I have had dealings with the red masks in the past, and
Did you know the old leader of the Red Masks, whose name has completely escaped me?
he kind of thinks you're testing him, and he says Nara Tiri.
Her granddaughter, blood relation, is now leading the Red Masks. If there was a strength and a bond between you before, there could be again.
You have my interest. If what you have said is true, Then yes. So I will tell you. Make of it what you wish. But if you have lied to me, I will find out. We move in the shadows in the night, listening and lurking. We will find you, and we will end you if you lie.
No lie. You have my word for what it's worth.
I will
Jasmine
feast.
turns towards Drago and goes, "So how many factions is that threatens to kill us in our sleep now? 3, 4?
I think it's 4. But it's fine.
Yeah.
We've made
Well,
other friends.
your
And we're
words
making
of
more.
your companion do not sit easy with me. It sounds that you are making far too many enemies than friends.
We
This
have
is
made at
not.
least as many friends.
Then he does the maths. So you've made 0 progress then, as his sharp intellect realizes as many enemies as friends means nothing.
That seems to be like every time we make a bloody friend, they send us off to kill their bloody enemy.
Now,
Are you or were you aware of the Tallow Man?
yes, terrible individual.
Well,
You
he
went
now
bloody
runs
splat.
the flame
You are
as a result
saying
of...
that you caused his downfall. He is no more.
We did.
Literally. Off the top of his tower. Splat.
Tall tales. I will send my
Yeah,
ghouls
the
out
tower was pretty high.
to find out, and if you lie to me, I will feed from your flesh and enjoy it.
My lord,
Knowing this...
I was just going to say, my lord, my friends speak the truth, though I was not there at the time. The
Then
Tallow Man is indeed fallen,
I will take your
and
word. I will.
I give it. I give it. I am Aaron.
I hope that it is the truth that the red masks rise again and we can have accords with them. So I will tell you this. It is not us that you seek, any of the ghouls of the boneyard as such, but perhaps a few renegades that have allied themselves with Zingili, master of zombies, a foul necromancer, and he makes his domain here in the boneyard as a dealer of death magics. He has many wards that prevents us from finishing him, bringing him harm. But harm we desire. It seems it is him that has hired these thieves that you seek. It is this master of zombies that you need to seek out and have words with. I can send some of my family to guide you through the warrens to where he calls home, if you wish.
That would be bleeping nice.
We would be grateful.
Thank you.
And again, Aaron,
Growth.
thank you, my lord.
let them finish their dancing and their feasting, and then they will guide you into the warrens.
Thank you. And as far as our gratitude is a potential conversation with the leader of the Red Masks the payment you would ask for, or are there other things? I wish to be clear before we part.
Shiny things, pretty things.
He says, let me taste your blood and we will talk later. I will be able to find you.
Jasmine sighs, makes a small nick in her left hand and the tip of the sword, and then stretches the sword out towards him so he can lick it off the tip.
Mm-hmm. He does that. He runs his tongue, incredibly long, coming out almost half a foot, as it seems to have strength itself, like a serpent, sort of licking it along the blade. Now I know where you are. I will be able to find you. And if everything you have said is the truth, then words we will be having of how we can help each other.
Thank you.
Bleeping Vegeta better pay me bleeping extra at the end of this bleeping month.
I don't believe she's paid you anything so far. Okay, so we move it forward, the prancing and dancing and feasting of the ghouls upon these bodies that... Yep, sorry.
Sorry, if can I just ask? This might it might be relevant. It might not. You know the church to Saint Agnes.
Mm-hmm.
You said, I think you said it was like really run down and like tiny and.
Yeah, it's, I mean, Saint Agnes in Ibihor isn't particularly revered. It's a place of scum and villainy and of black-hearted sorcerers, so a lawful deity is not overly revered.
Yeah. I was wondering if they'd got any pretty shiny things that, or some, or if not of great, like like not gold or silver or things, but they might have some, like some sort of ornamentation of I don't know, fancy glassware or something like that, or even a mirror or something like that. Was there anything that might
I'm not quite sure what
construe?
you're asking, because do you
Well,
have it in your gear?
No. I'm thinking, have they got stuff back at the church that we could sort of scrounge in to bring back as payment?
Oh
Because I
yeah.
think we kind of
You're also aware, perhaps not you, Aaron, but you would be Drago, perhaps you would be Jasmine as well, that there's a hoard of treasure in the Red Masks of all sorts of
yeah.
things.
I as a player know that, but I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
if Aaron knows that.
yeah, yeah.
So I was kind of
Plus, you seem to be hooked up with the Red Masks now, this infamous guild of thieves. So, gaining hold of maybe tapestries or furniture, and this is the kind of thing he's intimating at. A
yeah.
lovely chaise lounge, or
Yeah. It's material
yeah, yeah,
comfort goods.
yeah.
Yeah. I was like I don't know, fancy chair. Yeah,
Mhm.
lovely.
So
We'll be humping down with furniture with like
yeah,
removal men.
basically, yeah. And we need to pay the ghouls again. We've got this wardrobe this time.
We'd be really well kitted out girls. Oh, clothes. Oh,
Yeah.
we'll bring them some lovely clothes.
Oh, they would love that. Some good
Yeah.
threads. We're not monsters, he says. We're not monsters.
I think they are.
Um,
definitely are.
so yeah, with that thought, are you more than happy to move on?
Yes.
So there is this scene, this haunting scene, as the sun now drops below the horizon. The stars begin to come out, but you are in the dark. You are in the boneyard, and the piping begins to stop, and you can see the things, the ghouls moving around. But all around you now, this boneyard, you can hear the the sounds of bones kind of tumbling down. You're not sure whether it's just gravity or perhaps things beginning to stir in this ocean of death. Shapes begin to arise as the light has faded. But for you, you are in the presence of this ghast, and as good to his word, he summons a couple of the ghouls. He sort of speaks in almost pigeon tongue as the way that a master would speak to a hound. It seems the ghasts have the intelligence, and the ghouls perhaps not so much. He says, "These friends for now. Yes, guide them, take them deep into the warrens. Show them the way to the zombie master. Lead them true. Lead them true. No biting. No biting." They don't seem to be great conversationalists as they grunt and no vocal cords or anything.
Just to clarify, did he accept the boots in the heads, or does Jasmine still have them?
You still have the boots. You still have the boots. He was happy with just your blood.
I'm really glad he didn't ask for everybody's. No offense.
It's okay.
I mean, I was gonna offer mine, but I was beaten to it.
Yes.
But I feel like if anybody can have a conversation on our behalf now, it's definitely Jasmine.
So he sort of nods as these two ghouls sort of beckon to you as they begin to lope away into the boneyard. As you can sense, there are now hundreds of eyes upon you as other ghouls have raised to the surface. Soon, though, you begin to descend down amongst these, I suppose, ancient carnal pits of just bones, really. All of the flesh long ago gone. You descend down into the utter darkness, being led towards the zombie master, known as Zingili. And that, my friends, is where we are going to bring it to a close tonight. Well, thank you very,
Oh, I
very
thought we were
much.
dead there.
I thought you were. I thought it was all going to kick off, and it was
I
not going
thought
to
we'd
be
had it.
pleasant. I mean, you had the last remnants of sunlight that was perhaps holding back this. But you choose your moments, Jasmine, and I love it. You play your character. And, not only do you have a death wish, you are probably going to murderize the rest of the party as well at some point.
Remlad will be very happy.
Yeah, this is it. But you managed to sort of win through. So I know it's late. We've kind of overrun a touch, but I do like to do a very quick sort of post game sort of chat if that's okay with everybody.
Mm.
same old, same old. We'll start off with Jasmine. Any standout moments, favourite bits that you enjoyed?
Yeah, playing Jasmine.
Playing Jasmine, I just love being this agent of chaos.
Wild card.
The GM goes, "Oh my god, they said what? Do they not do they not understand? Of course you understand as you're as you, but as Jasmine playing those can't say dump stats because you don't have dump stats in Shadowdark.
No, you roll every stat in order.
Yeah.
And mine just came out plus modifiers +2, +2, -1, -1, -2, -2.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see, and it's a challenge as well. And I think it adds a dynamic to the group with them perhaps knowing that Jasmine is this force of nature. But
Yeah,
yeah,
to be honest, I usually play like good or neutral or lawful characters. It's just basically my first time ever that I'm doing such an extrovert, chaotic or / evil character.
yeah. And I mean, I what I like about what is happening is you're not random. You're consistent in your chaos, which is great. It's not like one moment you just go, "I'm going to do this." You are just consistent with
Yeah.
what you bring to the table, and I think that's important because for me, chaos isn't. Oh yeah, it's okay. I can do what I like because I'm just playing someone that is chaotic. There is
No, I also randomly rolled the deity as well.
Yeah.
Because in the player handbook, basically you roll everything randomly
Yeah.
in Shadowdark. And just the combination of this blood horde type god and the -2 in charisma and the -2 in wisdom, and that just basically formed this character. And I based her off Calamity Jane in Deadwood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Except
Yeah.
Andy asked me not
Yeah,
to
yeah.
swear, so it's bleeping.
Yeah, I mean, I did do some bad language. I'm not sure. Maybe we should readjust that because we don't really particularly make this for children. It depends exactly what words that. I don't want to get demonetized or
No, that's
cancelled
I'll keep
from
it at
YouTube.
bleeping because you
Um,
know the sort of swear words that Calamity Jane
yeah,
uses
yeah,
in
yeah.
that words. You don't want those on your channel.
Deadwood is it's an amazing show. I love it. But the language is
Poetic.
poetic. Yes, Dave, poetic.
Poetically foul. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
It's brilliantly funny swearing.
yeah.
In
No,
Deadwood.
no.
It's so over the top
Yeah.
that it eventually just becomes wallpaper.
Yeah. It's on point for the show. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. How about you, Matt? Anything?
It's delightful to begin with a natural 20 and then return to standard Drago rolling. So that was fun. And just trying to pour oil on troubled waters was great fun. And that
It
trying
does.
to undo what was being done as it was being undone.
It does seem that Drago is Jasmine's carer now. It's just like only because Drago wants to survive, perhaps. But it's,
I think it's an interesting combination,
yeah.
and it seems to be working as far as the results are concerned so far. So
I love the way that you started laughing when I choked out a thank you.
It was beautiful.
That's
It
great.
was like yeah. No, very very good.
Swear word thank you.
And Dave, any moments that you particularly enjoyed?
I loved. We had a chat beforehand, before we started in the green room about playing this group that doesn't have any sneaky thiefy people in it anymore now that Torstein has gone off to do things.
Yeah.
And I so I absolutely loved it when we rolled 2 criticals in the sewers. I thought that was just, it was just funny.
Yeah. I mean, we could have spent
sometimes
the entire session in the sewers.
wandering around in the sewers,
lost.
getting increasingly covered in Yeah,
Leeches.
Yeah.
feces.
Yeah.
Yes, if it is hors d'oeuvre. And I just thought that was very funny. I thought the Jasmine advancing on the gas lord of this place filled me with utter like oh my god, as a player, what am I going to do now?
And Draco has Jasmine's back, so I knew it was going to be all right.
Well, Aaron's not, and the other thing I'm trying to get in is that Aaron's polite and etiquette and things like that. So I hope that started.
I did like you taking the sandwich off the body collector and then
Yeah,
realizing
then genuinely kind of like because
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
oh, it was offered, so and therefore it's a gift, and it'd be rude to not accept a gift.
Yeah.
You see that, and that's part of is kind of former acolyte days with strict rules and
Yeah.
you must do this. It's drilled into him. So I don't know. We'll see how that works out. Maybe I'll have to try and break that programming at some point.
And I mean, wow, you're a mixed bag of moral compassed people. You were more than happy at the start to sort of say to the priestess of Saint Terragus, of course, yes, we will bring it back, when you knew all along that your job is to take it to the Sister of Skulls.
It's about balance, though, isn't it? Because ultimately, it's like I think certainly that was the thing. I think from from Drago's perspective, it was a case of if we could ensure that it's not going to be able to tell. It's ultimately what she wants out of this is to not have all her hair
Cut
cut off
off,
and be kicked down to the street. If we can
absolutely.
avoid that, great. But we've got a commitment and a prior conviction.
Absolutely. And then the body collector with the corpse that wasn't a corpse, that he was just going to kill, and you were no, 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 and you kind of rescued and saved him.
Yeah.
It wasn't particularly a pleasant individual as it was,
Well,
Which is why his boots got taken.
but it's the that's that balance thing, isn't it? You see
Yeah.
that's the the idea that you would stop that.
Yeah.
That kind of sort of neutrality on things is
Uh,
there is a balance. It's not a
yeah.
that's something going out of kilter, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
that's like way murder is just like way over there. It's like
No, no,
I
absolutely.
think that's
I'm very much enjoying you kind of playing it in this sort of style, most definitely not just random sort of murder hobos, but you are indeed kind of considering sort of your characters, and I'm
yeah.
very much enjoying how the characters are developing and sort of growing. Absolutely, and well, you've been successful tonight. You followed the trail of the skull of Saint Loric, and it seems you've uncovered the ne'er do well who has perhaps sent out some ghouls to steal it, and you are now hopefully well on your way to confront them as you descend down in this very, very terrible place.
It's dark down there,
Yeah,
and there
and
aren't any light spells anymore.
no, you've got some torches. It's sort of less hazardous than in the
I'm
sewers.
all out of torches.
Oh dear,
I've given 2.
it's
We
okay.
have 3 left.
Draco has some.
I've got 2.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
I've got 1. Aaron's got 2. We got 3. We'll be fine.
Be fine. That's 3 hours worth, and I mean you've got some ghouls that are guiding you. I'm sure
Yeah,
going down
totally trustworthy.
in the pitch black, you'll be absolutely fine.
I mean, I'm quite happy he was very emphatic on the no biting. So that was good.
Yeah, it's like no
Yeah.
biting. Yeah.
He didn't say anything about licking.
Well, we will find out in 2 weeks' time. So, thank you, cast players. Always enormous pleasure. I hope you genuinely did enjoy it. Thank you to watching, especially if you got to this point, as I always say. Really, really appreciate it. If you have enjoyed it, give us a like and a subscribe. It really helps out the channel if you haven't already. and hopefully in 2 weeks' time we will see them as they make their way ever closer to this so-called master of zombies. So what do I say, Jasmine? I didn't quite hear what Loric the Skull said there, but keep your torches lit.
Yeah, but I
Adventurous.
can't use both hands to move the skull and press push to talk.
It was appreciated. Stay safe, and we will catch you on the flip side. Thank you very much, cast. Really, really great. And
Thanks,
thank you
Harry.
for watching. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye.